Welcome to Windows File System Maintenance. We'll discuss the following: the differences between files and folders, locating files and folders, various techniques for locating them, the various searching techniques that are available, naming files and folders. Through these methods we will be able to maintain our file system in an orderly fashion, thereby making our daily lives and jobs a little bit easier and reduce the stress of, oh my god, where did I put that file? Let's start again with Windows Explorer. As usual, if I click on the Folders button so that I have two panes, on the left hand side I will navigate, on the right hand side I will view the contents of where I'm navigating. I will select the local disk C or drive C. On the right hand side I will see the contents. I will review by showing us the contents of the inventory folder. In the inventory folder we have named file 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, if you forget the name of a file but you knew when you made it, you would be able to search by date. However, it is important to remember to search in a location that is as close as possible to where you saved the file. For example, if I wanted to search for the contents of something in inventory but I forgot where it was, I could right-click on the next level up. Note here, the next level up from Documents and Settings is the local C drive. The next level up from Inventory is the local C drive. This is shown by collapsing the C drive and expanding the C drive. If I expand the C drive, I will see all of the folders beneath it. We know that in Inventory there are several files. I will again go back to the closest one to it that I am aware of, and in fact in this case it's the local disk or drive C. I will right click and choose Search. I have my little helper dog showing up right there, but as long as you remember the name of the file, you could punch it in here. We will take two common approaches for hunting for files. One is through the file name. I will use file 1 and I will say search the entire C drive. You can see it very quickly found, the search very quickly found file 1. I'll click stop and sure enough there's file 1. You'll notice the two-sided arrow allows me to adjust the header size right in Windows Explorer. You'll see that C inventory is the folder in which this file is located. If this is true, I should be able to Windows Explorer. I did. Click on the drive C and then click on Inventory. And sure enough, there's my file 1, as shown in my search results. In the C inventory location, C inventory. For me to easily understand this, I have to have a thorough understanding of the files and folders on my file system. So, let's take a look at doing another search, this time not knowing the name of the file. Sometimes we forget that. This allows us to use some advanced techniques here. We could choose by when was the file modified. I will say in the past. I'll specify some dates. Only one day. That means anything that was changed within one day. I'll say search. We will have many more files that appear, but realize file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4. The files that I've worked on today show up. In fact, the folder that it is in also shows up. So I can say that I found my file and I didn't know the name. Now I would have to have some clue of what I'm looking for, as there are in this case 69 files, but I would at least know that these are the files and folders that have been accessed today. To further help us understand how to use our file system to search for files, I'm going to close this current window right now. Well, to further understand, we will have to know how should we name a file, how should we name a folder. Most people just want to give any name at all, but in fact what you should be doing is creating directories or folders with names that are appropriate to the topic at hand. For example, in my data folder I may have data that is for January. So in my data folder, I could say I'm going to make another folder called maybe Feb. As well, in data, I could make another folder, March. So a pattern soon develops telling us that we're having a monthly collection of files. You can see that in this location I have a file called January, or jan1.txt. I'm going to move it just by dragging it. I will right click and drag. When I get over the folder called Jan, I will let go. You'll note that when you right click and drag and then let go, a little pop-up menu appears. This is the recommended way that I suggest. Unless you are absolutely comfortable, I recommend using a right click and drag, because when you let go you will have an option here, copy or move. In our case we will move. So you see, back to the left hand side, I'm using this here left side for navigation. I navigate to the data folder. I can then navigate to the January folder, and sure enough I see the contents of January. Coincidentally, I wouldn't expect to see February or March files in here, and I don't. Realize, of course, that the naming structure you use is up to you. However, it should be relevant to the topic at hand. Example, in inventory, you might have file 1 and file 2 and file 3, but what does file 1, 2, and 3, etc.? What are they talking about? We don't know. However, if we named it, perhaps, I'll rename this one, and I'll say that this is referring to perhaps plows. Maybe we have to do some plowing somewhere. I'll rename the other one. Maybe this one has to do with tools. Maybe we're tracking who has what tools. Maybe this file here could be more appropriately named something along the lines of man hours. It doesn't really matter what you name your files and folders as long as there is a relationship between them. That is, in inventory, I've got now plows, tools, but I've got man hours here now. Man hours should not be in inventory. It is more likely that they would belong, perhaps, if I right click and drag onto projects and I move it here, the man hours might be more appropriately fitted into the projects folder. So you see, it is just by naming our directories or our folders and our files in an appropriate manner that we will have less issues with where are our files or where are our folders. As long as you have a naming convention and you follow it, you will reduce the likelihood that you even need to search for them. But should you need to search for them, you will at least know where to look. Now we don't have to go to the C drive. I know that for man hours, that will be in projects. Perhaps not. Maybe it truly is lost, but it should not be in data for January and February and March. It should be in an area that makes sense to the structure of your environment. This concludes the file system maintenance video.